Now, allow me to introduce the dedicated York International team. First, we have Eugene Lee, who is the International Student Experience Coordinator, overseeing the orientation and transition portfolio. As previously mentioned, I'm Zhang, and joining are my colleagues Tier and Anika. By the end of this webinar, you should have a better grasp about the expected cost of living in Canada so you can plan accordingly. We'll also provide details about the financial aid options specifically available to international students, as well as introduce key resources for financial planning to help you make informed financial decisions during your time here at York University. Our agenda for the day includes an informative presentation on financial expectations at York University, focusing on what international students can anticipate in terms of cost of living and tuition. Then we'll cover the resources available for financial planning. After that, we'll have a Q&A section to address any concerns that you may have, and then wrapping it up with some information about the upcoming webinar. Okay, so now we'll begin by inviting Karen Warren from the Student Financial Services at York University. The floor is yours, Karen.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's morning here for us. I'm not sure what time of the day it is for you, but thank you for joining us. I hope you find today's session informative. Let me see, do I have, I don't think I have access. Can somebody move to the next slide? Okay, so today I'm going to cover a number of items, estimated expenses. So what is it going to cost you to be a student at York University? And then a little bit of information about the types of resources that are available to you. So our scholarships, awards, and bursaries program being the primary source of funding that students have available to them. And then our work study program, which is also an interesting program, allows you to get valuable Canadian work experience and earn some money while you're a student at York. And lastly, just what your York student account situation will look like when and how you make payments to the university once you're a student here. My slides are not working. Sorry, somebody's going to need to move forward for me, please. Thank you. Okay, so this first slide just talks a little bit about what you can expect in terms of tuition. This is based on our current tuition for the 24-25 academic year. Our fees for the fall have not yet been finalized, but should be up shortly and available on our website. But just to give you a general sense of what tuition costs and book fees would be for a student, depending on your program. So most of our science and arts programs, you're looking at about $37,000 for the academic year, so for fall and winter. And that is based on a full course load. So here at York, you pay your tuition based on your course enrollment. There are no flat rate programs other than our Bachelor of Design program. For all other programs, it depends on how many courses you enroll in, how much tuition you're going to pay. So that will fluctuate depending on what you decide to do. But on average right now, it's about 37,000, and you can expect a slight year-over-year increase as you progress through your program. Next slide. Then I want to talk to you a bit about other costs that you need to keep in mind, because tuition is just one part of it, tuition and books, but then there are also your fees and living situation and your meal plan, etc. So this year we introduced a guaranteed 4-year housing guarantee. So if you do elect to live on campus, you will have that opportunity to do so for all 4 years of your degree. Right now, this is based on actually the upcoming academic year. So for fall 25-26, these are the current fees for residents. So starting at $8,700 up to $12,000, depending on which residence you go into and what your living situation is. So if you're in a single room or you have a roommate or if you're in a suite, for most of our residences, there are no cooking facilities, so you do have to purchase a meal plan so that you can eat on campus. And we have many options for you to take advantage of in terms of your meal options. There are a few residences that are suite style and do have cooking facilities, and in those cases, the meal plan would not be required, but those would be the residences that are at the higher value that you see here. Then, of course, you have to take into account any additional personal expenses, transportation, personal needs, and cell phone, etc. And then health and dental care. So as international students, the health and dental plan is mandatory. You do pay a fee for the YFS, which is the York Federation of Students, their health plan, and then you must purchase UHIP. So it comes to roughly $1,100, and that covers you for a full year of 12 months. So that'll be in effect from September and run through to the end of August. And again, that's a mandatory charge. So if you visit the health plan page, you'll see information, and the UHIP page, you can see more information about what those costs, what you get for that coverage. Of course, you can also elect to live off campus. There are many options in the local region close to the campus for housing. And so the cost that you see reflected here is really based on the average cost of housing in Toronto. And as I'm sure many of you know, Toronto is an expensive city to live in, so it can be quite costly if you elect to live off campus. Next slide. So now I'm going to jump into what's available to you. So this year we did introduce a new scholarship program, an automatic scholarship program. So all high school students coming into the university, high school and transfer applicants coming into York University will automatically be assessed for an entrance scholarship. So no application required. This scholarship value is based on your final average. So that's the first thing you need to know. So when you get your offer of admission, you will likely have a scholarship offer in that offer of admission. It is based on the grades that we have available to us at the current time. This final value of the scholarship will be based on your final average. So when we get your final marks in at the end of the current academic year, the scholarship value may change. It may go up, it may go down, depends on how you land. The other thing is that these scholarships, there's a number of terms and conditions around these scholarships. So you have to have accepted your offer of admission by the deadline date that's indicated in your offer letter to maintain scholarship eligibility for these awards. These scholarships are specific to this academic year, so they cannot be deferred beyond this academic year. So if you were admitted for fall 2025 and you're thinking about putting off your admission to next fall, the following fall, this scholarship offer may no longer be on the table. It will be dependent on if we continue the program or whatever program is in place for the next academic year. In addition, this is intended for students who are paying international tuition rates. So if you are applying as an international student and then you submit documentation that for whatever reason allows you to pay your tuition at a domestic tuition rate, this scholarship will no longer be applicable to you. So we will revoke the scholarship if you are no longer paying international tuition rates. So as you can see, for these scholarships, you get one value for your first year, and then you get half of the initial value for years 2, 3, and 4. So it is renewable. You don't need to do anything yourself in terms of, letting us know. We will automatically assess the renewal each summer. And you must maintain a minimum grade point average of a 7.5, which is a B plus, to be able to renew. And I believe it's a minimum 24 credits you must take each year, which is an 80% course load. And it is also regainable though. So if, for example, you come in your first year and you're adjusting to a new curriculum, a new country, and you're not quite able to make that mark for the B plus, so it does not get renewed for your second year. But in your second year, you rebound and you're able to bring the average back up, it will be reinstated for your third year. So again, all of this is automatic. You don't need to do anything. We will automatically assess what you're eligible for, and we will grant the award. The other terms and condition I wanted to make sure you're aware of is that all of your admission conditions must be satisfied. So if you have outstanding conditions, the award will not be posted to your account until you have satisfied those. So typically that is like we're waiting for that final transcript to come in. That is the most common outstanding condition that we see on our entering student records. So make sure that all of your documentation, your final transcripts come into us. You should have no issue with it. Once the scholarship itself will be applied to your student account in August. Okay, so the money will go directly onto your York student account to go towards your charges that are on that account, which would be your tuition, your residence, your health plan, whatever has been charged to the student account. The funds will be directly applied to the account. We'll move to the next slide. Oh, so I've covered all the terms and conditions. So we had a number of scholarships that were application-based. That application deadline is now passed. We will be contacting students probably in this coming week to alert you as to if you have been selected for one of those awards or not. Those awards cannot be stacked with these automatic entrance scholarships. So if you are selected for one of our higher valued scholarships, our President's International Scholarship of Excellence or the Tantanda Vio Award, you will not be eligible for one of the automatic scholarships that were just shown on the previous slide. Next slide. Okay, so there's many opportunities once you are here for you to apply for additional funding opportunities. So once you've accepted your offer of admission, and you go through your enrollment, you get yourself ready for school for the fall. Come August, there will be another application that opens, which is our financial aid awards and scholarships application. This is an application that is available to you for the duration of your time at York University. So every year you will have the opportunity to apply for awards through the FAST app. Again, it will open in August. We send out a notification once the application is live to all students to let them know that it is available. In terms of the types of funding, again, we offer scholarships which are merit-based, so will typically be based on your admission average or your grade point average as you progress through your degree. We offer a number of awards. Awards tend to be a combination of criteria, so it could be looking at financial need, it could be looking at some academic merit component. Quite often it's looking at engagement. So we're looking at what type of work have you done in your community? How have you contributed both in your high school community and when you come to York? What type of work are you doing at York in the outside community? Those are going to be common questions that you will see in the awards applications. And then we offer bursaries, and bursaries are financial needs based. We do have dedicated funding, bursary funding for our international students. In the FAST app, there's two things you're going to need to do. One is to complete your actual profile. The profile is where you're going to list all of your engagement and tell us more about who you are. And then there will be a tab within that application that is the finance tab. That is where we ask you to provide all of your financial information so that we can do a needs assessment. And the needs assessment is required for any award that has a financial need component so that we can determine if you demonstrate financial need and what level of need that is. So I would caution you, we do see students who, submit the financial needs profile and indicate that they have little or no resources. And we on the back end, if I see a student who's coming to York and says they have absolutely no resources, I consider that an incomplete application. You did not come to university with absolutely no resources. Everybody has to have a plan. So you're either, for our domestic students, obviously, they can apply for financial aid, but as an international student, the expectation is that you are coming to school and you do have resources available to you to help you fund your education. And we are, willing and more than able to help supplement that. But we do want you to be honest when you are completing your application. When in our application, we take a look at all of your costs, so not just your educational costs, but we factor in, what it costs for you to live in Canada and live in Toronto to attend studies. So we give you a very high threshold in terms of what we know your expenses will be. And so quite often, students do demonstrate financial need, and we are able to provide you some support to help supplement what you have to bring to the table. Next slide. So in any instance, whether it is entrance awards or in-course awards, anytime you're receiving funding from the university, you will be notified that you're receiving that funding either as a direct email or through the FAST portal itself for our in-course awards. If you log into the portal, you'll be able to see a full record of your awards that you've applied to, awards that you've received funding from, etc. All university funding is always first applied to your York student account to pay off any balance that you have owing to the university. It is not unusual. Sometimes students, we select you for an award and you may have already paid off your student account. So that award just creates a credit on your account. You are able to receive a refund for any excess funds that are applied to your student account. So you will be encouraged, of course, when you come to Canada to open a Canadian bank account. And if you visit our refunds page, once you are a student here, if you visit our refunds page, there is a link there that allows you to provide us with your banking information for your Canadian bank account so that we can always directly deposit any scholarship money or any other surplus funds to your bank account so you have access to them here when you're in Canada. Again, I mentioned about the renewability. Don't need you to do anything with respect to being considered for your renewable awards. We will automatically assess that. You'll be notified if you qualify for renewal, and those awards will be directly applied to your student account, typically in August of every year. Next. Okay, so while you are here, another means of getting some support is through our work study program. So we do have a very robust part-time employment program here at the university that is geared directly to our undergraduate students. We offer employment opportunities through 3 unique programs. So RAY, which is Research at York, will allow you to work with faculty, staff, both graduate and undergraduate students on research projects while you're a student. It's paid employment, giving you valuable research experience that you can put on your resume if you're thinking about graduate studies. It'd be very, very beneficial to you to have that type of experience. So we have many opportunities under Ray. We have LEAP, which is our Leadership Engagement and Ambassadorship Program. So some of the students who are joining us here today who work with York International are probably students employed through our LEAP program. Students who lead initiatives for other students are that's the type of work experience. So if you're a student who has strong leadership experience and you want to be highly engaged when you come to York, LEAP is probably one of the areas that you would want to look at. And then we have general work study, which is campus-wide across, all of our departments. We have students who just work and support the full-time staff in the administrative work that's needed. I myself was a York graduate and a work study student many, many years ago. Many of us that work at York actually were work study students when we were students here ourselves. And so we love to work with our students, but more importantly, for you as a student, obviously it gives you some income, but it also is a great resource for you in building connections with staff, faculty, and other students to support you in your journey. So the great thing about work study is it's not onerous. We cap the number of hours that a student can work at work study position at 15 hours a week. And typically we will work those hours around your class schedule. So, if you are hired by one of our units, they'll ask you what your timetable is and build your hours around that. Because most of the work is in an administrative office, you typically would not work evenings or weekends. You would work, Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 in between your classes. And most importantly, it's going to give you some valuable Canadian work experience to add to your resume. So it's a wonderful program and one that we encourage you to check out. Get you to move to the next slide. So for the work study program, there are a couple of steps. For our international students, you must be a full-time student to participate in the work study program. So full-time is a minimum course load of 60% or 60% or 18 credits for the fall winter. And if you visit our site, it'll give you more specific details on how that breaks down. You must hold a valid study permit with conditions that allow you to work in Canada. So we will ask you to provide us with a copy of your study permit so we can ensure that you are eligible to work in Canada. So it's a bit of a two-pronged process. One is submitting a work study application. And if you visit our work study landing page, you'll see the link to the application. Right now, the summer application is open. You're not eligible for that one, but you could apply for the fall, and that application will typically go live in July. What the application is doing is simply checking that you are a full-time student, and then again, it will ask you to submit that study permit so that we can check your that you're eligible to work in Canada. The second step is really to apply directly for the positions. So the positions themselves, if you just go to the next slide for me. The positions themselves are listed on our career site. So our research positions, if you visit our career center, they have the positions listed on the Career Center site. And then the positions for LEAP and Work Study are listed on the York University job site. So when you visit that site, you can select by the program. So you will be able to filter and just look at the Work Study and LEAP positions. It'll give you the details. You'll go on, you'll create a profile on that site. You'll be able to upload your cover letter and your resume to that site. And then you're going to apply to the job the same way you apply for any part-time position. The units will, once the application closes, they will, review the resumes, go through an interview process and go through a hiring process directly with you. So again, the benefit is that many of our areas do use work study students to help support them with their work. And quite often, once you get hired into a work study position, that department will keep you on. So you will have that job for a number of years to help you as you navigate through your studies. Next slide. So this is just a sample of what you would be looking at on the employment career portal. So again, on the left-hand side, they'll have a navigation system where you can select work study, LEAP, or work study, and then it'll give you the full list of jobs. If you click on them, you'll get all the details about what the job entails and what the instructions are for how you can apply directly for that position. Next. Okay, lastly, I just want to talk to you a bit about your York student account and what that looks like. So right now, the first step for you is, of course, to decide if York is the place that you want to be. If you you get your offer of admission. As I said, the offer of admission will probably include a scholarship offer, and it will have a deadline date by which you must accept your offer of admission. So you're going to do that first. And then you're going to be required to pay a $2,000 non-refundable acceptance deposit, which will be applied to your tuition. So it's not an additional charge. It'll go right to your student account to pay down on your tuition. After that, oh, see, my formatting is a little off. We do not send out bills, paper bills. All of your information will be available to you online. So you will get a secure Passport York login, and you will be able to log into your student account at any time to see what's going on. So for a new student, you probably won't see anything until July or August. Once you've enrolled in your courses, you'll be able to see your full list of courses there. Any transactions, so your housing, if you're going into residence, your meal plan, your health plan, your tuition, all of that will be reflected on your York student account. Typically, the statement will be available around the 18th to the 20th of each month, and you will receive an email letting you know that that statement is now available for you to view. And then you can log in and through your Passport York, you can see two views of the account. One is the monthly statement, and one is a full transactions view. So it'll show you all transactions in and out of your account. When you are making payments from outside of the country, we do have partnerships with CIBC and Convera for you to make payments from your home country. Once you come to Canada and you create your set up your Canadian bank account, you will make your payments through that bank. With York University as the payee and your 9-digit student number, right? It's your reference number right now, but if you accept your offer of admission, that will become your unique student number. That is your account number for any payments that you're making to the account, okay? Next slide. So in terms of payments, again, you're going to make that initial deposit. The first due date will be September 10th. Okay, so that is for all of your fall courses. So those are courses that run September to December. You'll make full payment for those in September. For any of your full year courses, so those are courses that run 8 months, September to April, you pay 50% of that in September. And for your meal plan and your residence, you'll pay 50% of that in September. So you will see all of that reflected on your August statement. The next major payment due date is January 10th for the winter. So that is you'll pay the remainder of your meal plan, your residence, and your full year courses, and you will pay for your winter courses. So if you have any courses that start in January and end in April, the fees for those will be due in January. So for most students, it depends on how you do your enrollment. For most students, you're more or less paying your tuition 50% in the fall, 50% in the winter. But again, it depends on how you take your courses. So if you take a heavier course load in any one term, your costs are going to be higher in that term. The other thing, again, is your health plan fees that I mentioned at the start of the presentation. So you will be charged for the health plan. That will be due in September. Okay, so you will see that reflected on your student account in August, right? It will be due in September. Next. So here at the university, if you have any questions about your student account, you need any kind of assistance with payments or anything, you can contact the Student Support and Advising Team. They're located in the Bennett Center for Student Services. So when you get here, obviously. Right now, you can get a hold of them through a variety of means. They have a direct email. We do have a call center that you can reach out to them at 872 York, or you can email rscheck@yorku.ca. If you're emailing, we do ask you to include your name and your York reference number so that we can actually pull up your file and give you an appropriate response to any questions you may have. But yeah, when you're here, if you want to, and they actually also do virtual appointments. So if you'd like to speak to somebody in person, you can go on to their landing page, and the instructions are there for how to book out an appointment. You can book an appointment by Zoom to speak with a representative if you have any questions about your student account and how to navigate that. So I think I'm at the end of my presentation. I'll be monitoring the Q&A. So if you do have questions that have come up as I've been speaking, please feel free to put them in there and I will continue answering them. But I'm going to pass this slide deck on back to the students to help you with the next steps.
Thank you, Karen, for the insightful presentation on the financial expectations and scholarship aid for international students. Now, before moving on to the Q&A section, I just want to shift our focus to the various tips available to help students, especially international students, to manage their finances in Toronto. And my team and I have put together a list of practical money-saving tips that have been valuable to us throughout our years living in Canada as international students. And just a quick reminder, please continue to submit your questions using the Q&A feature for Karen. Additionally, while we're providing links to student discounts in the chat, York International does not endorse or take liability for any of this website offers. It is the student's responsibility to use these resources with caution. Okay, so one of the biggest concerns for both international students and residents in general is the high cost of food. A key tip that most people already know but often overlook is that cooking at home can save a significant amount of money. For example, a standard fast food meal costs around $20, but with the same amount, you could purchase essentials such as a carton of eggs, a bag of milk, or a loaf of bread and some fresh vegetables. And cooking at home not only saves money, but it also allows you to control the ingredients, which make your meals so much healthier. Well, of course, it's okay to treat yourself to like a meal out, especially during special occasions or when you're too busy studying for the exams. However, for day-to-day meals, grocery shopping is the more cost-effective choice. So when grocery shopping, always check flyers for deals and compare prices between stores. And many grocery stores offer rewards program. So downloading their apps can help you accumulate points for those discounts. Budget-friendly grocery stores commonly visited by students in Canada can include No Frills, FreshCo, or Food Basics. This store provides a wide range of affordable food options without compromising the quality. Okay, this is a very useful tip. So before making any purchase, whether it's a museum ticket or a streaming service subscription or a transportation pass, always check if there's like a student discount available. So many businesses in Toronto offer discounts for students. So always carry your student ID with you when you go out. So here are some of the popular student discounts. For entertainment, many museums, cinemas, and concerts park offer student discounts or free admission on certain days. And you would probably use a lot of public transportation to travel around in Toronto a lot. Luckily, public transit in Toronto offers student discounts, helping you save compared to taxis or ride-sharing apps such as Uber or Lyft. Platforms such as YouTube Premium, Spotify, Netflix, Grammarly, and Uber One also provide student discount plans. And here at York, throughout Student Union, York Federation of Students, they also offer discounts on fun experiences such as the NBA game tickets, so the basketball game tickets, or theme park admission. Okay, well, sometimes we can get overwhelmed with a lot of stuff to buy. For example, you need to buy a birthday presents for your friends or like some sort of new phones to treat ourselves after a hard semester, or just essential school supplies such as textbook that your professor would probably base 75% of the test on, or furniture to make your new room feel cozy and comfortable. All of these purchases can add up and get out of hand easily. However, I have found ways to mitigate that burden. So first, remember to plan your purchase. So if it's not urgent, wait for big sale like Black Friday or Boxing Day to get the best deals on expensive items. So Black Friday, for your information, for those that don't know, Black Friday is the day after Thanksgiving. So it's last Friday of November, and it's a major shopping day in North America. While Boxing Day, which falls on December 26th, it's a post-Christmas shopping holiday, particularly popular in Canada. So here you can buy Christmas present for your friends or some pricey tech products. Like I bought like the monitor last year during Black Friday, so I got a very good deal. Secondly, you can buy secondhand stuff. So if you don't need certain items brand new, for example, textbooks or furniture, consider thrifting or purchases secondhand items. And then you can, after that, you can try to sell them to someone else after you no longer need them because you finish the course or you're moving out. Um, okay, so why saving money is important during purchases like winter clothing or worth the investment. Winter in Canada can well get cold. However, it's all part of very fun experiences. And with good quality winter clothes, your winter experience in Canada would be very enjoyable. Um, we recommend waiting until you arrive in Canada to buy the winter clothing, as stores here offer items specifically designed for the Canadian climate. Although they may be more on the pricier side, high quality winter gear can last for years. When I first came here, I purchased a very good wind and water resistant, and it really helped me combat with the winter here. And then if you have a good winter boots can prevent you from slipping from black ice. And here, black ice is a very thin and transparent layer of ice that form on the surface of the roads, and it can get a little bit dangerous. And good gloves can definitely help your hands keep your hand warm and prevent frostbite. And like my colleague here, you can get the one that can keep you warm, and at the same time, you can use your phone while having them on. For more information about the winter, we will have it in the webinar called Looking Ahead Your First Year at York University, which will take place in August. It's pretty far away, but just so you know, we have a lot of webinars spanning out until throughout the year. So remember to check out your email. And all in all, good quality winter clothes are really worth the purchase. Next. Okay. Staying active doesn't have to be expensive here at York University. So York University offers various free or low-cost activities and wellness resources. For example, York has 3 gyms, multiple studios for yoga and dance classes, and opportunities for intramural sports. Fitness classes, including yoga, dance, and spin, are also available. And all of these are probably included in like a $25 package if I don't remember it right, per year for students. And this is extremely good because subscriptions to the gym studios here outside of the university can get very pricey. At York, we also offer free cooking classes with registered dietitian and on-campus executive chef. And you can also explore new recipe through the cookbook or the value meal program. All of this can be found in the link that dropped below by my colleague. And adjusting to life in Canada as an international student can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's okay. We manage it, so you can manage it. So York provides free walk-in and virtual counseling sessions, support groups, and various other health, wellness, and workshops that you can check it out. By using this strategy, you can manage your finances effectively while maintaining a balance and fulfilling student life at York University. And also, I know I name dropped some of the stores that you probably already forget the names already. However, that is why we have the resource guide that tells you exactly the name of the stores, the places, and the services that offer the student discounts and how much discounts they offer, so they can be very useful. This resource guide, along with the recording of this presentation, will be uploaded to the pre-arrival website. Okay, now we can move on to the long-awaited section, which is the Q&A. I know that that was quite a lot of information. We hope that you have the opportunity to learn about some of the expectations of cost of living in Canada and some discounts to support international students. And now we'll open the floor to for any question that you may have. So please use the Q&A feature to submit your question and we will address them accordingly. Okay. Okay, it seems like Karen already addressed some of the answer by replying to you. So if you can check it out, it would be very useful. But for those that have any other further question that would like Karen to address right now, feel free to do so. Okay, we can move on to the commonly asked question. Okay, so the first question for Karen is the deposit fee deducted from the tuition fee or paid separately?
Yeah, so the acceptance fee again is a mandatory deposit of $2,000 that is required at the time that you accept your offer of admission, and that is going to be applied directly towards your fees. So it will reduce what you're owing for your September bill. It is not a separate charge. It will be applied to your student account to reduce whatever you're owing on your account.
Okay, next question. Do I have to pay my tuition fees before coming to Canada?
No, typically you're going to wait. All fees for the fall are due in September. So September 10th is the tuition due date for the fall. We do just encourage you to be mindful if you're paying through an online or if you are sending the funds from outside of the country, to be mindful of the processing timelines. So, on average, it will take a day or two when you're making a payment through a bank or through one of the online service providers for external payments. So just to keep that in mind to make sure that you're meeting the deadline date. I didn't address it in the presentation, but all of the student accounts are subject to a late fee. So if you are late in making your payments or you have an outstanding balance after the tuition due date, that balance will be subject to a monthly late fee of 1.09%. So it won't impact your ability to, obviously, we're not going to pull you out of courses or anything, but you will be subject to that late fee. And at a certain point in the academic year, if we haven't seen a significant attempt to pay down your student account, they will put up a enrollment block, which will prevent you from adding any additional courses. So the threshold for international students is $3,500. So it's not an issue for fall, winter. You can go ahead and when you do your enrollment, you can add all of your courses for fall and for winter at the same time. So once you get access to the system in June, you can add everything for the school year up front. Where it becomes an issue is if you were, say, intending to take courses for summer, and come January, February, you still have a significant balance on your account. When the enrollment opens for the summer, you would be prevented from adding summer courses if you're still owing more than that $3,500.
Thank you, Karen. We have a question from the student asking, is living off campus more expensive?
It can be. It really depends on the circumstances and what type of accommodation you are looking to get into. I mean, we see all kinds of things, some that are not that desirable. There's a lot of houses in the area where, there's many students living in one house. I think really the prices are pretty comparable in terms of living on campus versus living off campus. Certainly, it's more convenient to live on campus. You can get up and be at a class within a couple of minutes. And really, for the cost differential, I think it probably makes sense to live on campus. But Yeah, again, there's many options for you to live off of campus also, if that's something you think you want to consider.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And I also want to add on to that is that we have a webinar about living in Canada. So we address both on campus and off campus options. And we have already uploaded the recording of the webinar on the pre-arrival website. So if you want to take a look at that, it can be very useful for you. Okay, moving on to another question from a student. There are estimated cost of living on my acceptance letter, or are
Mhm.
they calculated for 1 year or per semester?
Yeah, they would be calculated for the academic year. So it's calculated over 8 months, like September to April, what our academic year is. It's based on that. Making an estimate based on 8 months of study.
Thank you. Can I be paying additional fees into the student account as I wait for the September?
So I'm gonna interpret that as you're saying, like, can you prepay your account, which is fine. You can certainly start making payments to your student account in advance of the due date. It's not necessary, but if you want to, if you can certainly do that if you'd like to. It'll just sit on the account and go towards your fees, which won't be charged again till probably July or so.
Okay. Okay. We might have a few more minutes to address the rest of the commonly asked questions.
Sure.
So we will move on the third question over here. Okay. Where do I see how much I pay for tuition? I think you might have touched on that, but it doesn't
Yeah.
hurt to refresh your memory. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. If you just go to the York homepage and search student account, it'll take you to the landing page. Like, you won't be able to go in now, obviously. This is once you've accepted your offer of admission, you're a student, you get your Passport York access. And once you start adding your courses, you will be able to log into your Passport York account. That is, log in through Passport York to see your York student account. And again, there will be two views that you'll be able to see on the student account. One will be the student account statement, which is a month-to-month statement. So it'll just show everything that happened on your account for a certain period of time. Similar to, like, if you have a credit card or a phone bill, it shows you a block of time for your transactions. Then there will be a transactions view. The transactions view is the full view of everything that has happened on that account. So it will show you every time you add a course, every time you drop a course. If the course has additional course material fees, you will see that reflected on the student account. You'll clearly see the health plan charges, the residence charges, anything that is being applied to your student account will be reflected on the student account statement.
Okay, we have another question from a student asking, will the acceptance deposit be deducted from the tuition?
Yeah, that's the same question as the first one. So yeah,
Yeah,
that deposit is going to go towards your tuition. Yes. So it's not an additional charge. We're not asking for $2,000 on top of your tuition. That $2,000 will be directly applied towards reducing your tuition.
yeah, they did mention they didn't hear the answer to this. So thank
Yes.
you,
Oh, that's
Karen, for
okay.
addressing this again.
No, not a
Yep,
problem.
yep. Another student asking if I work at the REA posting, probably mean Rich, can I also go for the co-op opportunities that Yorkview offers from the second year?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the REA postings are. Is that LEAP? Is that they're referring to work study?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, as long as you're registered, like, if you're a co-op student, then you're not necessarily going to be registered active at York during that period of time that you're on co-op, right? Again, when you to be able to participate in a work study position, the system is looking for you to have a minimum enrollment. And I think often when you are on a co-op position, you're not necessarily enrolled. You are considered full-time, but you're not enrolled. So the system is not going to pick up on the credits. So, I mean, our preference would be that you are not doing a co-op and working in a lead position, because you're getting paid for the co-op also. And we would like to, because we have a limited number of work study positions, we want to make sure that they're available to as many students as possible. So, yeah, if you're doing
Yeah,
co-op, our preference would be that you not also participate in the work study program.
okay. Thank you, Karen. Oh, and it's a Ray posting. That's
It's a Ray.
please
Yes, I
clarify
see it
it.
here. Yes,
Yeah.
I see that now. Yeah.
Okay. we just have one last question for the commonly asked, so let's just go with that. How do I proceed in the event my status changes from international to domestic?
Yeah, so if you qualify, so if you visit our fees categories page, it'll give you information about under what circumstances you may be eligible to pay domestic tuition rates. Typically, you will need to submit an application and supporting documentation to demonstrate why you satisfy that requirement. And in the event that you do qualify for domestic tuition rates, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation, the international scholarships that I went over it early in the presentation, the automatic scholarships, one of the conditions is that you must be paying international tuition rates. So if you satisfy the condition and qualify for domestic tuition, we will reverse that scholarship from your account. It does not necessarily mean that that makes you eligible then for domestic scholarships. It really depends under what basis you qualified for domestic tuition, okay? So if, for example, you get your permanent residency or you have conventional refugee status, for example, that then qualifies you. You are considered a domestic student and you can apply for any domestic scholarships that we offer. And if you qualify, we do have an automatic entrance scholarship for our domestic applicants. If it applies, you will be considered under that. If you qualified for domestic tuition because you are the dependent of somebody on a work permit, for example, or a work study visa, we still consider you an international student. You're just an international student who's qualified for domestic tuition. So you are not then eligible for any of the domestic scholarships, even though you've qualified for domestic tuition. So it's a little bit tricky. It really is looked at kind of on a case by case situation. But I believe they've put the link in the chat so you can see what circumstances would qualify for domestic tuition.
Yep. Thank you so much, Karen, for addressing all the questions. Thank you so much for those amazing questions. And since we have no more questions, we'll now take a look at a few of our upcoming webinars and events. However, you may continue to use the Q&A feature if you have any more last-minute questions during the portion of this webinar. And just a reminder, yeah, Karen, we're gonna address them again. She's gonna stay here until the end. Okay. Join us for a quick and helpful section on the study permit application at 9 a.m. on April 9th, and we'll cover common reasons for refusals, share tips to make your application stronger. For this session, once you pay for your deposit and receive your provisional attestation letter, you will get an email with a link to a calendar to sign up for the study permit support session. And please note that this session is designed only for students who have already paid their deposit. So if you haven't yet, it's a great time to take that step and secure your spots. And here are our event calendar that can tell you about the dates and times of our other webinars that are coming up. And also the links to sign up to have an appointment with the immigration specialist. So you will also be able to register for them if you have any questions. And before we wrap up, we'd like to encourage everyone to stay connected with us through our social media channels. By following us, you will receive important updates, event announcements, and opportunities to engage with your community. And before we end today's webinar, I would just take a quick look at the chat to see if there are any last-minute questions. Okay, so since we have no more questions, thank you all again for attending. Thank you, Karen, for an amazing presentation and addressing all the questions, and we were looking forward to seeing you all at the future webinar. And okay, a very last minute question here. Can study work program help me take care of the basic expenses, Karen?
Yeah, so the work study program is a paid employment program, so you will get paid. I mean, the salaries range depending on the nature of the work from our minimum wage, which I believe is like $17 and change per hour, up to $24, $25 an hour, depending on the type of work. So the research positions tend to be higher paid because of the nature of the work that you're doing, and the same with some of the lead positions. But yes, you'll get paid on a biweekly basis if you're employed through work study, and of course, you're free to use that money to help you meet any expenses that you have.
Okay, thank you so much, Karen, for addressing this last minute question. I guess now this is the official end. So thank you all again for attending and looking forward to seeing you all at the future webinars and events.